Hey, God bless you. Hey, welcome to Money Minute Ministry this Saturday at noon. We thank God for you. It's a pre-recording, and I want you to get your pencil and paper out and take notes. Today, I'm going to give you four stocks that are recommended from my house, from my family. I'm going to tell you a story about what Solomon said in Proverbs, what I consider 27 and 23. Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds, for riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations. And so, know the people that you're around. Understand what you have in your resource. I want to share you some knowledge of individual stock from each one of my family members, myself, my wife, my son, and my daughter. My name is Pastor James L. Hines. Elect Lady Sister Lentine Hines, number one son, Joseph Samuel Hines, and number one daughter, Elise Angelica Hines. Lily, how you doing? All right, God bless you. Let's get serious here today. I want to share with you what Proverbs 28 and 20 says. A faithful man would abound with blessings, but he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. In other words, a man who labors honestly will be blessed. A man who deceives, robs, and steals will not go unpunished, said the word of God. I want to encourage you that you can take advice from your family members and engage them in the conversation of investments. I want to share one with myself, the new cars that's coming out. Battery driven. There's a company called KULR. I'm just going to give you the stock symbol, KULR. It has a contract with NASA now to produce the battery that will send the spaceship to Mars. Our country is moving in that direction towards less emissions of fumes in the air to battery operated automobiles. And I say that's a company. You can get it about $1.92. Don't cost you much. Use $100. Don't buy a pair of tennis shoes or a nice pair of shoes. And invest in stocks. Get your family into stocks and tell them watch this curve go up. And then it's a company called CYDY. I'm only saying stock symbols, not names. CYDY. And that's a company that's in clinical progress. It's leading on the cutting edge in this coronavirus. It's also leading in breast cancer. And it's also leading in a cure for a disease called NASH. It affects the liver. They the only one to have the pattern for this. And that stock, I've been watching the last couple of weeks, started at about $3.13, and it went up to $10, and they sold off, and it's back down to about $6.30. That's what I call CYDY, clinical progress, research in Corona-19, cancer, breast cancer, and liver disease. Also, I want to talk to you about what everybody is going to virtual meetings now because the corona has caused us to get a new normal. No longer are executives getting together. Well, the larger companies never got together. Now that brings security in place. Some of the apps that people are using, other people can get in and listen to the conversation of board meetings. And so here's a company that's really good in security in their visual meetings. It's NEXCF. Now, that's a Joe Hines product. The CYDY is a Leontine company. That QULR, of course, battery car, that's my product. And the last is what I call fantasy sports. With this Corona-19, these visual games, competition is played on a high level. There's a company that really specializes in that. It's called IPNFF, IPNFF. Now that's an Elise Hines. She told me, Dad, you need to get this. I had did the research. I wasn't really too comfortable about it, and so I asked Elise. She was in the house getting ready to go get that hair done. Praise God, and she know that's a daddy bill. Until you get a husband, that's my bill. And so I says, Elise, do you know about this company? She said, yeah, Dad. All the pros are going on that platform. That's the fantasy sports platform, because all of the other bigger companies have backed out, and this fantasy sports is getting to be big. And bought it at 22 cents 2 days ago, and it went up to 33%. I got a 50% return in 8 hours. And I just listened and hearkened to the voice of my daughter. Sometimes you need to get the right person in your life to feed you. You remember what God told, and I'm a V here, but you'll get the point, gave Adam an assignment, till the ground. And Adam, when he got a clear understanding of what he was to do, Genesis 2:18 says, and when he had worked, then God said, I will give him a helper. In other words, when a man get clear on his mission or his assignment from God, that's the time to get a woman involved in your life. And God will give you a helpmeet when you clear on what you're supposed to do. And I've seen that in my household. I'm now having a dialogue with my wife about investments. It started off as a hobby. Now it's a profession, where she's giving input. And when she talks, when I mention this CYDY, and she said, oh yes, James. Breast cancer affects every home. It's on everybody's mind when they get into their 40s. And I says, wow, I didn't know that. And I hearkened to the voice of my wife. And I got in on CD or CYDY at $3.13. And I watched it and accumulate 30 cents every day, 50 cents. The last couple of days it was going up $1. And then they sold off because some news. But I tell you, remember, you have competitors out there. And so now that's 4 stocks. That one is Joseph, who is very business orientated, virtual meeting platforms. And Joseph is, and I'll just give you one more of Joseph. Look into the mutual fund that deals with Bitcoin, that new currency that's going to be universal, that's going to change how we transact in currency. So I praise God. I want you to understand that Solomon wrote Proverbs, and he tells us in Ecclesiastes, invest in 7 to 8, because you don't know what evil will come upon the land. And so I tell you, learn how to get your family involved and share input. There was a young man in my church who was on the Lily Baptist media team, Keith Johnson Jr. He was sharing with me. He said, Pastor Hines, you ever heard of Snap? And I was like, no, what is Snap? He said, that's what all the young people use to communicate now. And I go, really? And I said, well, there's more y'all than there's of us. And the stock was trading at $14. I bought it at 16, and I sold it at 24 after 3 weeks. And now I wish I wouldn't have sold it. I think I'm gonna go back and buy it because it's steady ticking up. And so I'm telling you, learn to know your surroundings. You remember Moses' father-in-law told him that when the burden was getting so heavy to judge the people. He says, now get somebody over 1,000s, somebody over 100s, and somebody's over 50s. Assign a team, create a team to be over certain areas. I'm asking for my children to stay in tune with the millennium generation and what cutting edge tools. When I used to be a program analyst for the Michigan Education Association, I was always in training, and I learned the new tools that came out. Intuit, we went from Fortran to COBOL, and the training just steady took us. I remember when I started in high school, it was Fortran and Pascal, and the language is old, but it's now COBOL. But you got to stay in the circle, and you can't be in everything. You got to get people in place. And so I'm saying, get your family in place. Know the state of your flock. Listen to them. Make them bring some valuable conversation to the dialogue. Understand that the scripture says, for riches are not forever, nor does the crown endure to all generation. And so, try to make it last as long as you can, because rich people go broke too. Understand that you have to educate your family, and it's always a teaching moment. I got some new tennis shoes yesterday in the mail, and I told my kids I'm going to buy not 200 shares of stock that is trading at $1.92. I'm only going to buy one, because one pair of shoes cost me $1.50. And $1.50 is $150. That Nike 270C shoe. My daughter told me that wasn't a C, that was a zero for 270. And so I'm learning to listen to those around me and asking them to be in place and be over things so they can help me to be a better leader. I want you to train up your children. There's a way to teach your children by making them put some skin in the game, get invested, make them feel that they have something to contribute. And remember, as they say in the streets, your learning is going to cost you. Your teaching is free. What do you say that again? Let me say it again. Learning is going to cost you, but your teaching is free. And so I tell you, you're going to pay to learn, and then you can teach it free. And I paid my dues to learn it. Now I'm teaching it to you free. I want to ask you, if you would like to make a contribution, please go to Rab Cash App. If this has been a blessing to you, be a blessing to others. Invite them in, tell them to subscribe out on YouTube so we can get members to subscribe, and so it can be a blessing to the Lily Baptist Gmail media. Now I done twist that up, so let me get it right. lilybaptist.media@gmail.com. Yes, it's good to have help. You see what I mean? My sound man in the back didn't say much, just directed me in the right direction. That's all I'm saying. God has placed people around you to sustain you. Let those people sustain you. Thank you, Leontine, for sharing. Thank you for Joseph for speaking up. And thank you for Lise influencing me. Different words, same thing. You're my help. God bless you. I want to say I'm informed. I'm praying that you would be informed. Thank you. A person who have cared and nurtured the Jackson community who's not from this community. And so I thought that I would bring him on and share an opportunity with you to help change your life and the trajectory or the direction in which your family is traveling for the better. Earlier there was a recording talking about how my wife, my son, my daughter was part of my investment plan, that I took input from them. I want to say this individual, Jack Gibson. Let me tell you a little bit about how I met Jack. Some 5 years ago, there was a knock here on the Lily Missionary Baptist Church, Lily Mission Center door, and a lady wanted to meet me and says that she could help me to help this community. Well, that turned out she was representing Herbalife, and I received a $75,000 check. And over the years, one of the leaders, one of the drum majors for Herbalife out of the St. Joe area is a young man by the name of Jack. He called me and invited me to come down to his home, and I met Jack, who was just about an average person, but he had a beautiful wife and outstanding sons, and that's what made his value rise with me, because his family received me just like family. I'll never forget the day I had a driver from the church, Keezel Johnson Sr., drove me to his house. I was sleepy, and Jack wasn't at home, but his wife and his sons was there, and his son came out to meet me. Now, you have to meet his son. He's the type of salesman. I called him nephew from that day forward, and I'll never forget, they was having a gathering for friends over, and they let me in the house. And here I am, an African American. I'm in St. Joe, Michigan, a beautiful woman with two outstanding sons. They let me in the house, and the ladies was coming over, and I said, let me answer the door. And I'll never forget, I opened the door, and they looked at me, I said, yes. And they go, is Jack Gibson in here? I said, yeah, that's my cousin. And we've been hitting it off like family ever since. And I'll never get those women was like, are we at the right house? Right. I was like, girl, look at here. Come on in here. I'm a visitor too. And so Jack at that time tried to say, Pastor Hines, I want to bless you and not just your organization. You're helping people. I want to bless you. And I said, Jack, well, I quit a job to do this work God told me to do. And as years go on, Jack have brought me a total of about $250,000 from Herbalife for me to help children. You can talk to the people in the Jackson community that comes to the Christmas where children that don't have Christmas really have Christmas now. Children that don't get food really have food. You that pull up on the fourth Thursdays and Saturdays, they get your meat, your vegetables, your produce. All of that is a trickle down from Jack Gibson. And so he called me last week and says, Pastor Hines, the coronavirus has me stable now. And so what are you doing? Come meet me. I want to talk to you that you can be blessed in your later stage of life. And I told Jack, well, I'll think about it. And when I met with Jack, God started dealing with me and says, you real busy, but bless the people. So I want you to listen to what I'm saying today, how you don't have to just use the product, but you can become a distributor of the product and you can become financially sound. I'm telling you, an individual who blessing people that he don't always see, he hear about, really trying to bless you. Now you can believe me, if I tell you elephant is heavy, don't pick him up. I wish somebody helped me here. Now that's what my wife says. My children tell me I'm selling ice to Eskimos. And I says, well, they can at least have a slush when they go to Hawaii. And so I say to you, listen and be very prayerful. We need motivated people. The Lansing area, the Jackson area, wherever you at, you can help change your financial status. And so I'm going to interview Jack. As he's sitting here, he said, what we going to do, Pastor Hines? I said, we're going to talk, because this is real talk. And so, Jack Gibson, tell me a little bit about Herbalife, what you do at Herbalife.
Sure. First of all, thanks for the kind introduction. And I just want to go on record and say, make sure we're very clear, I was only a small piece of the $250,000 in fundraising. There was a big team involved in that, but we've been so blessed, to be able to be a part of what you're doing here and how you're impacting these kids. And, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and he said, success comes from what you get, but fulfillment comes from what you give. And so we've been blessed incredibly with the fulfillment of being able to, hear about and see to a certain extent what, we're able to do to impact these children and what you guys are doing. It's just incredible. The impact that you're having and future generations. So I wanted to say that first.
I want to say this. When he was speaking, it reminds me of my son and daughter knows I did a little bit of work with their mama to get them here. But if it wasn't me, they wasn't going to get here. And Jack said he was just a little bit of that, $250,000. But if it wasn't Jack, it wasn't going to get delivered. And so I say that to my son and daughter. You might say, hi, Mom, first. But you better say hi, Dad, also. So God bless you. All right, Jack.
All right, good. That's good. I like it. I got started in Herbalife nutrition back when I was 19. Actually, I was going to Hillsdale College, not too far from here, right? And my parents were incredible. They provided a very stable and a warm, loving household, and they're big, financial kind of training to me was go to school, get good grades, study hard, and then get yourself a nice job and work your way up through a career, right? That's what the path that both of them had taken, and they did very well in their respective careers. However, I always knew that I wanted to be like my wealthy uncle, right? He had 3 businesses. He had a huge farming operation. He sold, I don't know, $1 million of insurance or more a year. He had a big insurance book. And then he also started a tent table and chairs rental company. So he worked very hard, and he was the millionaire next door. Like, he very humble, drove the old pickup truck, right? You wouldn't have thought he was a millionaire, but he when he passed, he amassed quite a fortune. And so I looked at that and I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to create wealth. I want to enjoy mine much more than what he did.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be a lot more, live the lifestyle of it, but I also want to be able to pass that on to my children and bless my future generations as well. So I knew that being in business and being an entrepreneur was the path I wanted to take. I knew that was the path to really creating true wealth. I heard you say on your Money Minute, one of the episodes recently, that if you really want to create wealth, you need to be in a business. And if you want to be in the middle income class, then you have a job. And look, there's nothing wrong with either path. They're both great. It just depends on what side of the, wealth equation do you want to be on. So
do you want to write the check? Or do you want to wait to get the check?
Yeah, absolutely. So profits are always better than wages. So it was sitting in my dorm my freshman year of college. I was a little disgruntled, I would say, with the process and getting kind of just bored with going to school already, 1 year in.
That's 80% of America.
Yeah. So another college student was handing out flyers in the dorms. And, it's funny how when opportunity knocks, right? It comes in disguised as hard work.
Yeah.
It comes disguised in something that you really maybe don't see what the true value is behind it when it first comes knocking. So I grabbed the flyer and, kind of tossed it aside, right? And then I saw this young man again in the cafeteria, and he was putting the pitch on me again, and it took about 3 or 4 chance meetings like that with him, where finally just said, man, this guy's serious about this. Why don't I just take a look? Well, it doesn't hurt to take a look, right? So I went to he had a little meeting and at the college campus, and I kept an open mind, and at the end of it I said, you know what, I'm in. So I inked it, signed my contract. It's a $100 startup, and started distributing the product. And I had a rough start, Pastor Hines. I mean, we didn't have the same level of systems and marketing ability. There was no social media. It was very rudimentary. This is only 23 years ago, right? I'm speaking like it's 100 years ago. But I had a rough start. It took me about 8 months before I really started getting a commission check. My first one was for $14.90. I'll never forget it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, I was generating some cash through sales, but you want to build up a check from the company. I mean, that's the big vision, is to be able to create passive income, money that keeps coming in month after month from the recurring sales revenue that happens in your organization. So it wasn't until I had a customer. His name was Ben. He was from Litchfield, Michigan.
Right down the road from us.
Right. Tiny little community, and he ended up losing 100 pounds on his nutrition program. And Ben was well known. He was everybody knew, liked, and trusted him. So all of a sudden, he's handing out my card because everybody's saying, we know you like to eat. Ben, what are you doing, right? So then he started handing out my cards, and then those, sooner or later I had 20 clients, and then those 20, they led to another 40. So now I have this big book of clients. I'm making, a few $1,000s a month in cash from my dorm room, part-time, around my college class schedule.
That's not a college student. That's a professor's salary.
Yeah. By my junior year, I was making more than my professors, or at least to my knowledge, based on what I know about professor pay. So when that happened, that kind of snowballed. It was, the 40, I helped a few of them to become distributors and taught them how to, become, agents and distribute the product and grow an organization. And so by the time I graduated from college, I had a business that was over $1 million in revenue, sales revenue, not profit, right? Mm-hmm. But sales revenue. And I was able to move from Hillsdale. I moved to St. Joe. I had a connection from my college roommate with Muhammad Ali, so I was able to go to his estate, anytime I wanted. So that's why I moved to St. Joe, Michigan. So I was able to
float like a butterfly. He's stinging like a bee.
Like a bee, right? Yeah. When I walked into his house the first time, he did 3 magic tricks for me, and it was amazing. But whole different conversation. Amazing man. But I was able to be portable, so I went to St. Joe and I was able to do Herbalife on a full-time basis. I've never had what, some would call a job,
Oh, you got a job. It's just not 8 to 5.
That's right. Right. I had a business.
I want to tell my children that who said to me one day, Dad, you don't go to work. Mama go to work. Well, now you can see. Here's another individual like me. We work when we want to work, but we work all day. I want to tell you, when you found your passion, it's not work. So I say to my children, I never went to work. I went with my passion. And that's what you hear out of Jack.
Yeah.
Jack's gave me the Sunday sermon subject. I'm going to share it with you so you can listen to it Saturday. It's from Jack Gibson. God spoke to him right to me. It's what I call your opportunity is in your opposition. Jack was at school. He wanted to have a paycheck, but he wasn't finding it in the class book. But they put it in black and white. And it kept coming back to him. And that's what I'm saying to you that's listening. You're looking at my life. You're seeing the progression. You're seeing people. My passion is that people be blessed and change. You're looking at a man who built a $5 million church on $1,800 in the church treasure. Jesus said, if you don't believe me for my works. I'm here to tell you, your life can change. All you have to do is believe in the product. If you got the passion, if you got that work ethic, call Lily Missionary Baptist Church. Say, Pastor Hines, I want to get connected with that man, Jack Gibson. I'm telling you, if you slowful, if you don't have that energy, don't call. 517-783-5568. If you that person that want to change in your life, if you want to change your community, I keep telling African Americans everywhere, don't own the product, own the business. Don't just wear night, own stock in night. We're people that need to get health conscious. Help change. Now, I'm going to tell you something about Herbalife. The founder is from Jackson, Michigan. A student of Lumen Christi. He's since been going home with the Lord. God moves in mysterious ways. Jack came from Hillsdale. I want to get, what's the name of that uncle that drove the truck?
Duke.
Uncle Duke. That's my man, Uncle Duke. You can impact people's lives by your finance. Now I'm pretty sure, don't you have other uncles?
They've passed.
Yes, but you've had.
Yes.
But he talked about Uncle Duke.
That's right.
And I want you to be able to make an impact in your lineage. That your nephew, who's raised by, was this your daddy brother or your mother's brother?
Mother's brother.
Your mother's brother will impact you, impact your life. This is a great nephew here. He didn't forget Uncle Duke. Uncle Duke didn't forget him by showing him a work ethic and a pattern. It's not how much you do in this world, but it's what you do for others. The late A.P. Williams would tell me in his last days here on earth pastoring in this community, son, greatness is not what you do for yourself. But greatness, sonny, is what you do for others. Now, you heard A.P. Williams with that song. You know I've been talking to him. I want to say to Jack Gibson, when we go out, we're going to see his Uncle Duke vehicle. Now, remember, Uncle Duke drove an old truck. Jack came to one of our Lily Mission Center celebrations, feeding the community outside, and I walked him to his car, and I noticed he didn't have a keypad, but his car opened based on his handprint. I said, man, what kind of car is this? I said, you can't even break in it because you wouldn't think how to get in it. So it takes some things to inspire some folk. I tell people, I drive a pickup to make my church understand. Let's build wealth. I drive a Beamer for my teenagers to drive to the prom to impress their dates that they don't go to a poor pastor church. All I'm trying to tell you is you have the gift to reach somebody. He has the product to shine your gift. Herbalife to me is like polish on a shoe. It don't make the shoe, but it sure make the shoe shine.
That's good.
And I'm trying to tell you, you better call. I'm telling you, the elephant is heavy. Pick him up. This is so unique. It's like an alligator on Rodale Drive getting a manicure. Get involved.
We definitely got to talk about the kind of the new way of doing things as well with the nutrition clubs.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I went down there. I went down to Kalamazoo, one of the clubs, and I was impressed. And I go, well, now you got to be able to deal with the people who've relaxed about the corona, the people who's real uptight about the corona. But I'm trying to tell you, eat healthy, and you'll survive the corona. Hear what I'm saying? When I go to the, what do you call those rallies you have?
Success seminars?
Oh, man, you've got to go to one of those. You'll leave motivated. I'm telling you, you'll see people who weigh 500 pounds down to 250. You'll see people, and you know they used to just say, black don't crack. I've seen look like white don't crack. I'm like, man, that woman got to be 70. She looking 50. You know, I'm just saying the beauty. Please hear me. Help change our community. Get involved. Be a representative. Jack, final words.
Well, you had a young lady on your show. She had just graduated high school, and she said that she wanted to start a franchise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren.
That's Lauren Jeffries.
She's great. She's great.
You're not that great. You're not that great.
Okay.
You just got your grandmama's spirit, hard worker. They can grind.
Yeah.
She's one of those
She should have asked you for, $2,000 instead of $500.
See.
What we have today is a business model that has all the benefits of a franchise, but you don't pay the high startup franchise fees. You don't have to pay royalties to, a company out of all your sales each month in order to have the model. So we have the proven model with the nutrition club. So think of a nutrition club as it's like a healthy, coffee, healthy cafe where people can come in and instead of buying coffee, they're going to get a healthy meal replacement, nutritious smoothie, right? They're going to get an energy bomb that they taste amazing, and you can get, the small 12 ounce, you can get the large mega 32, we call it lit, light, or loaded. and you get these energy bombs and you just feel amazing after, and it's not this energy crash like you get from normal energy drinks. So people come in every day. I mean, we had 100 people at our place in St. Joe yesterday alone come in and, and get a shake and an energy bomb. And so, we had another location open up down in Indianapolis, and they had 275 people come in and buy, a shake and an energy bomb. So these are, you get all the training and all the knowledge and all the mistakes that, we've made over the last 10 years to where we're at today, to where we have this model that somebody can come in, start up, and they can get, they can have extreme, success right out of the gate.
I'm going to do you one more favor. Now y'all pushing me. I got two things, Jack. God is working through Jack and working on me. First thing is, Lauren, it's about 4 of you that got checks that me and Sister Hines has written. If you don't hurry up and call me, Lauren, I'm going to take 100 of the 500 and sign you up for the business. But I'm going to bring Jack back on a designated day in the gym, social distancing, and have him to present question and answers. Because I know you're curious, because I see a media man over there thinking about his daughter, his son, getting in business. Yes, that's how the Holy Spirit does. And you that listening to me, now listen. My wife told me this morning, I says, baby, I might have to sign up because I don't want to be a bald-headed man selling hair growth. And she said, baby, you got too much now. Your flights have all been canceled because of corona, but people are steady calling you since you done got on that social media. And so I'm saying to you, there's going to be another meeting, question and answer. Jack, will you be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
All right, I done got him to commit. Now I need you to commit. Call me. I'm going to only take the first 50. I'm not taking 51, and I'm not taking ready to say bye to Uncle Duke's nephew, Jack Gibson, as he gets in his Uncle Duke's new truck. That Uncle Duke didn't have a truck like that. What kind of car is that, Jack Gibson?
Tesla.
The Tesla what?
100D.
100D. All that 100D mean dollars in the hundreds. Amen. Thank God for you. Drive safe. Kiss the wife. Hug the children.
All right.
And text me that you made it safe.
Safe. Got it. Thanks for having me.
All right, love you. Look forward to staying in contact. Well, praise God. This has been a JLJA Ministry production. Stay tuned for next lesson where God has brought me to teach and bring my pet, preaching, education, and teaching. God bless you. See you next week.